Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Chris Chan article where we are going to start wrapping up a lot of these parts by talking about Chris and technology by continuing with Chris and the internet. Almost the very spawn of Chris's loins and the loins of his spawn in many ways. So let's get started. I really detest the memes. MEMES. Well, good job, Chris, learning how to spell. That's a top marks right there. And we see the proper response to a virgin with rage on the internet. Lumberjack version of Bob Chandler. Get away from the damn internet. I'm cutting it down. I like the fact he's got a beanie on as well. I think, is that supposed to be slanting towards Chris as well? The internet, the bloodstream of our saga, it is a computational system that allows the transmission of data over long distances through a massive collection of networks connected all over the world. Actually, here's a very interesting question, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say 50,000 years into the future. By that time, either aliens have completely conquered the universe, or maybe we would have done that ourselves, and we could be on the furthest reaches of the solar system, and they'll probably be using Google Internet Explorer there. And they may even be talking about Chris there as well, to discuss human culture studies, for example. The internet has grown immensely since its first real conception in the 1980s, as a means for the military, and later universities, to communicate with each other. It is said that about 4.8 billion people all over the world are connected to the internet today. You there, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this right now, you are a part of a pretty inclusive club in many ways. One of these people is Chris, the internet's battered girlfriend who always comes back for more. Understanding. Chris seems to be aware that the internet is a place once you put something up, anyone with access to a computer could see it. However, due to a combination of his ego and his generally inability to understand others, Chris has come to the conclusion that if he puts anything on the internet, everyone will see it, and if you direct a message to someone, only they will see it. Chris has in the past attempted to address videos to specific people, almost like a strange combination of The Truman Show and 1984. From celebrities to potential employers to internet girlfriends. Most telling is his 8th of May 2010 rant, which was addressed to anyone who served on the Greene County School Board in the early 1990s. Chris sees no problem in dropping highly sensitive information over his videos. Well, I can think of one or two, including his phone number, that's a pretty bad idea, street address, that's probably worse, and the secret name of the girl he desperately wanted to be his sweetheart. Yeah, I think that must be talking about the wallflower. Yeah, they were. He doesn't understand that YouTube is a public website and not an instant messaging service. You remember that time when YouTube tried to be, and they tried to do things like, messaging and all that? That never went anywhere because nobody used it. Yeah. Never paying attention to the deluge of comments he gets from horrified onlookers that definitely prove his private messages are anything but. That's just down to Chris's naivete, which he has never seemed to have learned anything from ever since. Chris has been on the internet for quite some time, yet does not understand how to act online any more than he does in real life. While many users of the internet contribute content, are polite and helpful, and genuinely follow any established rules, Chris sees all websites as vehicles to spew his self-serving version of the truth. Well, just go onto any comment section on anything on the channel Sky News, and you'll get a good idea as well. And probably the Fox network as well. Well, Sky News in the UK anyway. I don't know exactly what it's like for Fox in the US anyway, but I'm going to assume even Fox poke fun at how ridiculous their plans are anyway, so. Even worse, when given his own website, he audaciously claimed that it was he who had control over the site, not the sysop, who did the work of setting it up, or the advertisers who paid for it. Out of fear for trolls, Chris refuses to meet people online or interact with people he knows beyond closed doors. Apart from sometimes. He has tried to join public forums at least a couple of times without attaching his name to the account. That's a good job there, Chris keeping himself on a bit of, on a down low because he would attract too much attention, but has outed himself either on his own or through his unusual and distinctive writing style. Anyway, exactly. Abandoning them when he feels unsafe from his trolls. For example, Chris will sometimes include sighing, as in, like star sign, star sign, to indicate that he's sighing in the real world. Like I've said before, usually it's the custom to say that you write as you speak and you speak as you write. And Chris must have taken that so literally that he will voice and mimic his whining, his sighing, anything like that, anything that he could just cut out of the... It's almost as if, like, Chris... in fact, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an idea what I'm talking about. If I just open up Microsoft Word, for example, you see this here, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's known as a really neat little feature called Dictate. You press this button, and let me see what happens. Watch what happens. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work because of OBS being on at the same time, but you press this, and all you have to do is speak into the microphone, and possibly words will appear on the screen. Again, I'm not entirely sure how well this is meant to work, considering the fact that I've got OBS on at the same time, but yeah, well, basically, I almost want to get the impression that if I spoke as I am speaking right now, you would see some grammatical errors that, if I was going to write this in any proper way, I would have just had the sense to cut out entirely. So there's that. Right, where was I? Fora. Chris does not normally participate in forum discussions, either due to a dislike of reading, simple egotism, or both. When he does, he always signs his message, be it a comment or YouTube, a rant on the Adult Swim boards, or a complaint about something in Little Big Planet. He never follows up on these points either, nor does he read the comments left by other users. Just like on YouTube, any retractions or responses are saved for completely unrelated posts elsewhere on the internet. That's why I'm actually going to do a little thing right now, is that by the time I come to uploading all my videos, I'm going to love, and respond to every comment I get on the first day I upload all my stuff. That will make people feel as if like their thoughts are being appreciated. Common sense would suggest that Chris would fare well in the internet forums, which are heavens for socially retarded 30-something weeaboo men children who still live with their parents. However, Chris managed to fail here as well, by appearing in the web as his usual nicknames or full names, and plastering Sonichu crap all over the place. He draws the attention of his trolls, as he was bound to, and reacts predictably when they follow him. More importantly, if the trolls somehow fail to notice his new hangouts, he's quick to make enemies completely of his own accord, due to his ego, selfishness, and complete disregard of rules. Chris is, or has been, active on many other mediums on the internet. He has ran his own blogs and websites, posted videos on YouTube, and communicated with the outside world through social media sites such as MySpace, Twitter, and Facebook. It was only through Chris's extensive activity on these mediums that made the complication of this huge extensive wiki even possible. As of 2018, however, Chris's online activity has transformed from a naive man-child's accidental comedy act to the insane ramblings of an unhinged madman. And it's the only way he sees fit to even go about this. Also, just to also ask one thing in particular. No, I'm one of those people who doesn't believe Chris has schizophrenia, because real people who have schizophrenia are almost involved in insane plots that often involve the government tracking computers. And I don't necessarily believe Chris is... Although I suppose there could be, other, being schizophrenic in different ways, i.e. paranoid about flowers or the fact that the ozone layer might collapse and all of a sudden all the air will be sucked out of the planet. Stuff like that. Bans. And here is the ban hammer. Some people see dicks everywhere on the internet. Chris tends to see these instead. As with many places in real life, Chris has found himself banned from the few places he frequents online. Thanks to his screwed up conversation filter, which again, he seems to think that he is completely out of control when it comes to this, Chris has done stupid stuff and has stuff taken down or been banned from places. However, due to his relative inactivity concerning internet forums, he's banned from fewer places online than originally expected. He was banned from DeviantArt in the summer of 2009 for posting the uncensored version of Sonichu issue 9 without a NSFW tag, though he doesn't understand why comments he left on the Wikipedia suggest he is under the impression that his DA account simply vanished into cyberspace for no reason. Unless, of course, Chris didn't link, an email address, in case he didn't see anything. He was also banned earlier for the uncensored version of Sonichu issue 8. Despite bouncing from one account to the next, Chris has only been banned once from YouTube. However, unlike DeviantArt, Chris has constantly made new accounts after one was taken down or abandoned. He has also had posts moderated at Game FAQs, where he attempted to solicit money for special characters in Mon Nation races. When his article on the Wikipedia was deleted and his talk page there got trolled, his account was indefinitely blocked, although the blocking admin mistakenly thought that he was a sock puppet of a troll and not the real deal. The only way for Chris to do that is to do his infamous information overload again, which would have just taken more time and they would have banned him anyway. His most grievous ban to date involves Flipnote Hatina. Between the 29th of June and the 2nd of July, Chris had the same Flipnote removed from the site 4 times because of its sexual nature, with Chris thinking it was being removed by trolls instead of realizing the fact that a Nintendo-owned website wouldn't like having animated sex streams put on their website. Because of this and other Flipnotes, he has uploaded and re-uploaded. The mods briefly blocked Chris's DSi from uploading any further Flipnotes. When this ban expired, Chris resurfaced. Well, no, why on earth should bans ever expire though? Chris resurfaced on the website and re-uploaded all the Flipnotes that got him banned in the first place. Way to go, Chris. The entire situation wasn't helped by try-hard trolls flagging his animations in a desperate attempt to have an impact. Yeah, that's just a bit... One notices a pattern in all of this. Chris has a tendency to not read a website's terms of service or gain an understanding of website he uses, or any resemblance to anything adhering common sense. When protesting his ban from Wikipedia for violating one of their numerous rules, he argued that he didn't have the time to read the pages upon pages of fine print that stipulated what constituted acceptable behavior. You really should do that, or if you can't obey to common sense, how hard would it be for anyone to have just done that? I don't even think that's got anything to do with, ego. That's just Chris being lazy as hell. When faced with a similar conflict on Flipnote, he failed to get the hint that each deleted animation was violating the terms of service. Even uploading a video anyone could tell was inappropriate. For the PG-13 website, no less than 4 times before his console got blocked. Bams from Orbiters. This article is yet uncompleted due to stress. Okay, fair enough. Attempts to leave the internet. Call these attempts and not entirely successful ones. As the saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I think that was a Billy Ocean song, the more I think I remember. However, in Chris's case, he takes this and butchers it. When trolls descend on him and torture him, he gets up and leaves. He's like a child who packs up all of his toys and goes out in the driveway when things don't go his way. For many trolls, this would be a great victory. Threatening to quit the internet forever is such a common reaction to trolling that is known as its own term, flouncing. Of course, His PlayStation 3 is still hooked up to the internet, where he plays video games, reads game forums, and logs into YouTube. I wasn't too be sure about the second one. So he never really leaves for good. He merely changes his outlet. When Chris talks about quitting the internet, he means ceasing video and comic production, and no longer tangling with trolls. His first attempt to abandon the internet was when the Ivy saga was hitting its peak. Tired of Clyde Cash's trolling, Chris proclaimed that he was leaving the internet. Instead of doing that, he disappeared for all of 2 weeks before creating a new account on his YouTube account. Well, creating a new YouTube channel, I should say. His second, third, and fourth attempts all seem to have been directed by an outside force. Of course, Chris being Chris, he never made good on his word to stay off forever. This is what Chris means when he says he is going to go outside and enjoy life. Yeah, that kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? After he made his second announcement on leaving the internet, he made a rant about the Cleveland show a mere 36 hours later. He also made his fourth attempt of leaving the internet just 4 days after making his third announcement, saying that the trolls have both made him scared off and scared him from the internet. He returned just 1 week after this grand proclamation. After talking about how he almost committed vehicular homicide. He makes his fifth announcement that he is leaving the internet. The Chris Chan cycle. Let's just take a look at this quickly. Chris comes back on the internet, posting new video, many laughs had, optimism about how new trolling opportunities arise. A new sweetheart troll appears. Numerous videos and chats are done. Quick, trolls skeptical about the latest troll ploy. A saga ends. Numerous docs are leaked, Quick community analyzes a lot of the new information that is revealed, trolls still divided on opinions. Leaving the internet, Chris claims that he will leave the internet and stick with IRL encounters only. Trolls bore about dry spells, trolls also say Chris has dried up as a lolcow. And the cycle continues, although I must be honest, that is sort of like what it's been in the past, but not for a good number of years anyway. Nearly 2 weeks after his fifth abandonment of the internet, he was spotted at Fridays After 5 playing Flipnote Studio on his Nintendo DSi. He soon discovered the pictures and videos of him on the internet and broke his exile to post his response to it all on Flipnotatina the next day, saying that he wishes trolls would stop spreading his bad reputation around. This shows not only that Chris is still looking out for his internet reputation, but that he also assumes that by telling trolls I'm leaving the internet forever, he expects them to stop talking about him. This would have been easy for the trolls to do if Chris had just stopped making videos, especially ones addressing them specifically. Not seeking out trolls offline couldn't hurt either. On the 22nd of November 2010, Chris announced that he would be leaving the internet yet again, and begin what would become his longest time away from the internet, for a Heathrow unsurpassed period of time. Chris managed to refrain from doing something that would directly attract the attention of the trolls, although he was not completely able to repress his urge to spread his ego over the tubes, and thanks to his PS3 with web connection and keyboard controller, he still made occasional efforts to make the world realize his greatness. Whatever this means. Despite his claims to have stopped socializing online, a new Facebook account bearing a previously unseen photograph of Chris was discovered on the 5th of July 2011, and 2 weeks later it was revealed that between the 29th of May and the 20th of June 2011, Chris was frequenting the forum Tomboys and Tomgirls of Virginia while trying and failing to stay anonymous. This culminated with 3 videos released on the 6th of August 2011 after a 257-day YouTube hiatus. Although unofficial, it is worth mentioning that after the death of Bob in September 2011, Chris had not returned to YouTube for over 2 years, which broke his previous record of 257 days to, 730 days, I think. Technically, that could have been considered a 7th internet abandonment, with the only exceptions being Facebook and Twitter. However, in November 2011, Chris uploaded a video he recorded the previous month, once again showing that, ultimately, he just couldn't resist uploading things about himself. He continued to upload videos sparingly throughout 2014 and 2015, returning on a regular basis from October 2015 onwards. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to do it for Chris and the Internet. Now, just before we go, a very quick thing I kind of wanted to admit right now. It's kind of interesting in a way that Chris's life on the Internet has sort of evolved into almost a subculture of people who are either documenting, talking about Chris, or even coming up with plans to pose as girls when they're in actuality 13-year-old boys, trying to make a 27-year-old look like a pedophile, as it were. However, what's quite interesting is that we are all kind of a part of the same story. Every single one of us is in some way a part of this, because we're having the opportunity to discuss his behavior, highlight exactly why it's wrong, and basically, in many ways, it could be encouraging people like you watching this right now to say, well, if we want to be successful, we've got to just at least make sure to not do what this man does. And also bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I've had YouTube channels taken away from me before. It was a major blow at the time, and I realized at the time to come back in any which way, shape or form, I would have to do things different than I did before. So I suppose really in this time away, I'm going to actually take it for granted at this point that I've not become in any which way famous or successful, despite the amount of work I put into my videos so many years ago. But now there's going to be, I think, even more, depending on how everything is received, as it were. So just watch this space and just remember that, well, just be careful again with who you talk to online. That really is kind of the end of it. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of reading Chris and the Internet. Please also make sure to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the article for yourselves. And I hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye for now.